I've spent a lot of time with Jews, spent a lot of time with Scientology. You notice I was complimentary of Scientologists. People get upset. He's shilling for Scientology. I've never had a bad experience with a Scientologist, ever. I've never had a bad experience with Jews, ever. Do I think Scientologists are part of a cult? Yes. Do I think so are Jews? Yes. Do I think they're very proud of their background? Yes. Do I think I am as well? Yes. The crossing of the line to me is when it becomes about, with the words you said, the cash, the adulation, the sexual favor, take the sexual favor out, the cash, okay, yeah, some of these guys are doing it for cash, okay. You know, what percentage of billionaires in America are Jewish? 9.6%. Oh my God, but what percentage of the world population is Jewish? 15 million on 8.5 billion. Where are you at? You're 0.something%. Small community. It's a very small community. So, it's more my position with this is more, let's stop acting like we don't all admire somebody. Let's stop acting like we don't have somebody. Like Nixon gets, two sides of the story. There's a part of Nixon that he did a lot of good. The other side of Nixon is he empowered China to be able to equalize Russia because USSR was so powerful. They needed somebody, China, that was number 8, number 9 economy, to come and take after Russia that was number 2 or number 3 because they were a threat and Russia wasn't negotiating. So they were using triangular diplomacy with Kissinger to bring that guy up, and then boom, and then we got off the gold standard. All the rich get richer, poor get poor. The middle income's getting destroyed. It's because of Nixon. If we didn't get off of gold, we probably wouldn't be in a situation we're in today. The moment we got off the gold, then it's all about what? Hey, trust me. This is the American dollar. You can trust us. You can trust us. But then Nixon also did a lot of good stuff. So to sit there and see both sides, tear apart anything I just said.
Well, I just want to focus on a couple of things.
Please.
First of all, deception. Is there a bait and switch con with the group that you're involved in? For example, I went to religious school. I was bar mitzvahed. I went to Hebrew school. There was no deception. What my family believed or thought I was going to go through in indoctrination is in fact what happened. It wasn't like a group like Kip McKeon, which we discussed, the ICOC, where there was this mask, we're just Christians, when that isn't really what they're all about. And the indoctrination was locking you into a discipleship system controlled by Kip McKeon. That was not the case in my religious education. And I think that, for example, when a Catholic priest or a nun is expected to take vows and they become involved in a religious order, they know what they're getting involved in. And the order explains to them, this is what we're all about. These are the sacrifices that you will have to make. Celibacy, vow of silence, a devotion system that they may have. So is the group deceptive? Is there a mask that they wear to the public in order to pull people in, and then once you become involved, it's something completely different? Is it a bait and switch con? And then second, what I would say is, I really don't care how a group believes. They can believe whatever they want, but they may not behave in whatever way they wish under the guise of beliefs. So, for example, when they cross the line criminally, and they're doing things to defraud people, abuse people, etc., that's where they step over the line and it becomes an issue of criminal prosecution. And I've been involved in a number of cases, testified as an expert witness. And again, it's not about belief, it's about behavior. So we may not like what another group believes, but as long as they behave in a way that is not criminal and they are not hurting people, then we can say, well, I don't agree with your beliefs, but you're entitled to them. So if they want to believe that, Scientology is largely kind of a science fiction space opera, their belief system, Xenu and intergalactic.
We're all being indoctrinated. That's kind of what I'm trying to say. And the part that we have to be careful with is where I'm trying to get from you is, I'm trying to say, at what point, at what point does it go into a bad thing? You said something earlier. The organization lacks accountability, right? There's no open financial where employees or people are, "Oh, what's going on with the money? Where did the money go to?" People don't know the finances. So, hey, be open about where you're at financially with the company. Lack of accountability, force pushing you away from your own family. Some of those things, I'm tracking with that. I'm with that part. But also at the same time, like you mentioned the organization earlier, I've never heard of it before. Lev Tahor. Lev Tahor, am I saying it correctly?
Lev Tahor.
Lev Tahor.
It's Hebrew for essentially the pure ones.
Yeah, and this was a Jewish cult, right, that you were talking about
It
earlier.
was a spin-off from ultra-Orthodox. It was started by a man named Shlomo Helbrins in Israel. And then he came to the U.S., went to Canada, ended up dying in Mexico.
What does Guatemala have to do with this?
They were constantly running from authorities, and they would eventually end up in Guatemala and create a compound outside of Guatemala City. And the issue was not what they believed. The issue was how they behaved. So they were having children as young as 12 married. They were abusing the little girls in the group. There was sexual abuse of little boys in the group alleged against the leader, Shlomo Helbrins. They weren't being properly fed. They weren't receiving proper medical attention. They unearthed a child's body in the compound when they raided it. And the children, and I went through their testimonies because I prepared a report for the court, they were beaten brutally. The corporal punishment in the group was very excessive. And of course, Helbrins was a virtual dictator, and then his son, who succeeded him, occupied that same position. And I would work with children in the group and families affected by the group and see how anyone that left was labeled in a very negative way, and you had to let go of them, disregard them, and so on. So again, it wasn't about what the group believed. There were beliefs of the group about how women had to dress, that they were different and more extreme than even the most Orthodox Jews. The issue was, how do they behave?